Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cupid Parasite. We're going to be doing Cupid Parasite today instead of Code Realize because there's a really bad cliffhanger in Cupid Parasite and I want to know what happens and other people want to know what happens. So unfortunately, Code Realize MP's route is what I was going to do next. Is going to have to wait until the next time. So because we need to continue this. Because it left off with Ryuki getting a text message from his grandmother saying that I found the perfect fiance for you, and that's the last thing we need right now because their feelings are already complicated enough with each other, and we don't need a fiance in the mix. No, we don't need it at all. Let me adjust my gain because I think it's too loud, especially if I'm too loud. So we'll put it back down to 3. All right, cool. This one's called True Love, and it has a save file in it. So, Chi, what should I do?
Chi?
Look, Chi's here. When I got home, I couldn't even look at Claris. I just crawled into bed. I pulled the blanket over my head and grabbed Chi tightly. My heart was still beating fast. It was pounding in my ears. I was in pain. What should I do now? I kissed Ryuki, didn't I? But that wasn't all. Gil had confessed his feelings for me. Oh my goodness. She's thinking about that too. You already told him that you see him as a friend. Chi's arms and legs jittered back and forth as if he was feeling my emotional pain. I buried my face in Chi's fur inside. Gil's confession was a complete surprise, but I had to admit that it didn't give me the kind of thrill I would have expected. It was nothing like Ryuki's kiss. That had overturned everything I thought I understood. In that case, I had no idea how to act the next time I saw him. Did I ever get used to it, or was I just going to be nervous every time I saw him from now on? No, just go talk to him, it'll be okay.
もう細かいこと気にしないの。とにかくキスすると幸せになって、なんだか本気になったって気持ちになれるの。
He's serious about you. Getting serious. I knew for sure that Ryuki's kiss didn't feel careless or thoughtless. It was a kiss that wanted to take me away from everything. And now that I knew he liked me, maybe I felt even more nervous. Well, at least she knows that much. Instead of like, why did he kiss me? I wonder why do people kiss people? Even though he was apparently a parasite, and even though he said he didn't see me as more than an acquaintance. This is not fair. When did he change? How am I supposed to know if he doesn't tell me? I like Lynette as the main character because she is a lot more... she's a lot smarter than most of the characters that play these roles. It's like, oh, I didn't even know he liked me, or why did he do that? What am I supposed to do now? Does he really... Oh, I mean, they ask all these dumb questions, and they pretend to be clueless, and she's just like, I didn't know he liked me. How was I supposed to know if he didn't if he doesn't tell me? So she's already smarter than the average main character, which is making me happy.
Chi.
After struggling for a bit, she got comfortable and quieted down. I buried my face in his soft fur and thought about everything for a while. Now we gotta go to him. This kind of reminds me of watching a movie where the two people realize that they like each other, and it goes to each of their perspectives after the fact and they're just thinking their thoughts aloud, and it's just reminiscing on feelings. Once I got home, I sat next to Kagura in a daze.
Aww.
All I could think about was the girl I just kissed. Suddenly I got a text. I picked up my phone and saw it was a message from my grandmother. She said she'd come to Los York on business and had met a woman with a truly exceptional beauty grade, the highest she'd ever seen. She said she was sure I'd love her. She said she'd be in Los York next week for work and she wanted to introduce me to her. So my grandmother wanted to see me. Nori Keisaiin, the head of the Keisaiin family and lead designer for Keisaiin. Just because they have a high beauty grade doesn't mean he'll like her, because, I mean, Lynette's beauty grade just shot up, right? I'd been running from my grandmother for so long, I thought she'd tell me I had no chance as a designer, but I couldn't keep running, not from my grandmother and not from love.
でも僕はもうあいつじゃなきゃダメだ。
Without who? Lynette? Yeah, I guess so. I recalled the look on her face when she kissed me and when her face turned red. I mean, I guess she kissed you back. It's not like she was trying to get away. I wondered how she felt about everything at this moment.
僕のこと男だって認識してくれたかな。
I felt like she was underestimating me just because I was young.
いや、侮ってるってのとは違うか。自分が女だって自覚がなくて、他人を男だって認識してないんだ。
Yeah, I think that's the problem with her being Cupid. Her humanity still isn't there yet. She's still godlike in her memory. And you guys are just humans. She sees everyone as equal, so it's not fair for me to feel frustrated. She's not wary of guys, and it doesn't even occur to her that they might be in love with her. I know, she has like no reactions to Alan whatsoever. Which is why guilt felt like she rejected him, also why she suddenly ran away after I kissed her.
あの顔、可愛かったな。
It was cute when she ran away. I didn't expect her to run away, but that look of surprise on her face was so cute. She ran off, totally startled. I'm sure she didn't expect it at all.
でも嫌がってはなかったよな。
You should ask her. I wasn't sure. I had no idea. To be honest, I never cared about anyone else's feelings. Plenty of people have yelled at me or broken down in tears, but I didn't care, so whatever. Caring about other people's feelings keep you from getting to the top. That's what I always thought. But now I couldn't help but wonder about her feelings. What was she thinking right now?
僕のこと嫌いになってないかな。
No, definitely not. As I thought about that, Kagura looked at me with worry. Kagura and her perfect beauty score, but seriously, who was more beautiful than her? Yeah, Lynette. That's what I wanted to tell my grandmother, but I felt a pang in my stomach as soon as I imagined it. She might get mad at me, just like when I was a child. Well, that's something she's gonna have to deal with.
Ryuki? あんなしつけのなっていない家の子と遊んではなりません。あんなやからと遊んでいてはお前のセンスも落ちますよ。お前は特別な目を持っているの。デザインに励みなさい。学ぶことはたくさんある。よそ見している暇はないはずよ。
Oh man, if she thinks all of this, she's gonna have some things to say about Lynette, probably. I remembered playing on the park playground. I was playing with clothes grandmother had made for me, but then she frowned at me. My dirty hands made her design look bad, and my stained clothes made everything look awful. And all the kids at the park had a beauty grade of less than 50.
だから僕は公園に行かなくなったんだっけ。
I never played with kids my own age. I only ever talked to the older designers about their jobs. In elementary school, I went straight to my grandmother's house to learn about design. And she was right, I couldn't waste a minute of time to become a proper designer. This whole time, I'd only focused on my own sense of style. Thinking about it, I was sure my grandmother wouldn't approve of her. She might think she was cute, but I was sure she didn't measure up to my grandmother's standards.
それでももうこの気持ちを僕は裏切れない。
That's good. Don't betray your feelings. Just keep that in mind as we go forward. I love Lynette, so...
よし。
I stood up with a sense of resolve. Good. Good. I was worried about that. I'm so sleepy. As soon as I got to work, all I could do was yawn. Actually, I didn't sleep very well last night before. I couldn't stop thinking about Ryuki. I wondered what he thought when I ran away, and what he thought when he kissed me. It was my first kiss, so I had no idea how to deal with it. Stop it, I have work to do. It chased off the memory of that moment and I logged in to try and get some work done. But as soon as I did, I saw a message from the magazine editor and nearly collapsed. What? Because the photos from the Parasite house shoot had arrived. I glanced at the pictures. The Parasite 5, including the Cupid court president, just in Ryuki's clothes, everyone looked so cool. Rao, a Sillywood actor, was as good as it gets, and the slender Alan looked good in any suit. But in my opinion, nobody looked better than Ryuki. He pushed his bangs to one side and looked at me without any fear in his eyes. My heart started pounding faster than ever. Ryuki, you're so cool. Maybe it was the suit or maybe it was the makeup, but he looked more mature than ever. I looked at the photo for a while, then came back to myself. I have work to do. I need to reply to my other emails. The first thing I did was send photos to everyone else. Everyone else replied as soon as possible. Rao, Alan, Gil, Mr. Snell, and even Ryuki. I couldn't help but get a little nervous when I saw Ryuki's reply. Gil had already confessed his love to me, so why did I only care about Ryuki? I know, right? Sorry, Gil. Gil was the lovelorn Parasite, and despite being the goddess of love, I always thought Claris was his lost love. They didn't even say long lost love. I was completely oblivious to Gil's feelings, and Ryuki's feelings for that matter. Why did I keep tying people's feelings together? How pathetic. But that can't be right. I mean, I'm the real Cupid, right? Someone who exists to support other people's love shouldn't fall in love, right? So I removed the possibility from my mind. Or at least that's what I meant to do. So why is my heart beating so loud? I looked at the monitor again. Seeing Ryuki's face, my heart started beating even louder. You're in love with him. Look at that face. I saw that face at the very last moment. A few hours later, I was ready to leave work. A few hours, huh? Because I wasn't able to concentrate at all today. I grabbed Chi and used him to shock the stiffness out of my shoulders. Poor Chi. I had a pretty rough day, but I prepared to have a better day tomorrow. What do you think? Ryuki's gonna, like, come find you. But as I left the office, I froze in place. I told you. Because right outside the office, I saw Ryuki. Oh, Ryuki, what are you doing here?
あんたに会いたかったからに決まってるだろ。
He sounds angry. He's like, why else would I be here? Well, at least they have some time to try and get together before their grandmother shows up. He approached me without hesitation and grabbed my arm. His grip was so warm I couldn't move. I looked into his face, which was so close to mine.
この間のキスのこと、謝らないから。
Oh?
リネット、あんたが好きだって言ってるの。
He blushed but refused to look away from me.
あんたが僕のことを男として意識してないって、とっくに分かってる。だから、僕にチャンスをちょうだい。
She sees you as something because she can't stop her heart from pounding. A chance?
僕は、あんたと付き合いたい。その可能性を、あんたに考えてもらいたいんだ。だから、僕とデートしてくれない？
So adorable. There's not very many Atome games where they actually go on dates. They're just like, they just fall in love and it's like, well, that's the end.
日付はあんたに合わせる。できれば早い方が嬉しいけれど、
The earlier the
無理
better.
はさせたくないから。
I know, before the grandmother shows up. Ryuki hit me with an impatient gaze as if something was pursuing him. It was clear that he really wanted to take me out on a date and that he wanted me to see him as a man. If I took the first step here, there was no going back. Do I pull back or do I go all in? Ryuki wants to go on a date with me. Do I accept his request? Okay, so this is where you make a save file. Save. I don't want to reject you, Ryuki, but I have to read all of the bad endings too. Okay. So we're going to accept the date request. I was so confused, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. My head was spinning and I couldn't tell if I was really in love or not. Okay. I nodded slightly and gave him a mature look. I think that's what it means.
ありがとう。じゃあ休みの日を教えて。
Actually, this coming Monday.
わかった。じゃあ当日迎えに行くから。
As if to lock it in, he gave my arm a squeeze and let go. He just walks off. After that, he stared straight into my eyes, then turned around and took off. What am I supposed to do? You should stop asking yourself this. You've asked yourself that too many times now. Everything was happening so fast, I just stood there looking confused. I stood like that until Chi wandered out from my bag and we locked eyes. That was a fast one, dang. Natural sense of color. At last, the day of my date with Ryuki arrived.
おはよ
Good morning. She looked so unsure. Even as I got ready to leave, Ryuki was already waiting for me. I recalled all the times that he hit me with a facial spray, but surprisingly, he halted all his spray attacks. As I walked up to him, he just smiled at me.
う。今日もあんたは可愛いね。
His personality completely changed once he realized what he was feeling. What? I wasn't ready for him to praise me. I touched my skin to check my own moisture level. I didn't do anything special, but...
何変な顔してるの？ほら、行くよ。
Okay. I took his hand and we started to walk. I felt totally different from before when we went on that weird fake date. Totally different, as if it's real. Then we came to the amusement park. We rode the teacup and the Ferris wheel. We worked together, thinking about how we could conquer each ride. That being said, it wasn't that different from any other date. I enjoyed myself more and more, enjoying my time with Ryuki on each different ride.
次は何乗る？
Do you want to go to that roller coaster? I've been thinking about trying it for a while now.
俺に？いいけど平気？
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
ならいいけど。
I thought he was going to be scared or something. We ran up to the roller coaster, but... Is he scared? It's a kind of a climb, isn't it? I was a bit horrified by how tall it was. I couldn't even see the scenery around me, just the blue sky. Wait. Ryuki, take my hand, please. Even as I frantically reached for his hand, Ryuki burst into laughter.
何？あんたから乗りたいって言ったのに、ジェットコースター苦手なわけ？
Oh my gosh, it's so loud. Despite his words, he smiled and took my hand. The warmth of his grip helped me calm down, but I can't help it. It's scary, period. I thought I'd be fine. I rode plenty of rides in college, but I had no idea it could go this high. Uh-oh. Just then there was a loud sound and the coaster came to a stop. Then... Down you go. The coaster... Oh my goodness, it's so loud. I was hoping it would stop, but I don't think it is. The coaster rushed down and I couldn't stop myself from screaming. Please stop, that's so loud. That was so scary.
あんたでもあんな声出すんだね。髪の毛、すごいことになってる。
Pretty remarkable, huh? That's funny. Considering it's probably a mess. He chuckled and ruffled my hair. Knock it off. I had it exactly how I like it.
どっちにしろ風圧でボサボサだよ。ほら、そこ座って。僕が直してあげるから。
He's so cute. Let me fix it for you. He sat me down on a nearby bench, then started playing with my hair. He combed my hair with his slender fingers, then braided it together in one group. He seemed really happy and didn't look down on me a single time. Before, if my hair was even a little messy, he'd look really mad, and if my skin was dry, he'd look completely disgusted. But now, even if my hair is super messy, he doesn't mind at all. He just fixes it with a smile on his face. Before now, he talked about how his beauty grade was everything.
Hmm?
He looked at me with those gentle eyes of his, then touched my ears. It was a gesture that told me he liked me. My heart still started thumping again. Who wouldn't get excited being treated like this, especially if they already said how they feel? All that was left was to decide how I felt about it. Up to now, I wasn't sure what I was thinking. The kiss that day made everything hard to figure out. I wasn't able to look Ryuki in the eyes, so I just looked down at his fingers. Then he reached out and touched my hair.
はい、できた。
Thank you. I looked up and Ryuki looked back with a mature gaze. It completely enveloped me. Feeling restless, I got up. I thought to distract us, so I pointed at a food cart nearby, but my voice came out a little louder than I expected. Acai juice. I like acai. Let's see what the real answer is. I had it closed. I want a crepe. You know, this is Ryuki's route, so maybe we should look at the other ones too. I want bubble tea. Oh, I want to have some bubble tea. I heard everyone's been Instagramming it lately. He pointed to the bubble tea place, otherwise known as a tapioca milk tea. It's high in calories, but it looks really nice, so I figured the glamour parasite wouldn't mind it too much.
写真のために食べ物を選ぶ感覚ってよくわからないけどあんたが飲みたいならいいんじゃない？ 何か？
As long as I don't eat it. He was a little negative, but I appreciated the enthusiasm. We looked over the menu together when we got to the shop. Oh, they also sell crepes here. Everything looks so good. As soon as I said it, I realized my mistake. A cream-filled crepe probably wasn't too appealing to a health-conscious guy. Let's see, that might be where it picks up, because crepe is the right answer, so we want acai juice. Hey, I want some acai juice. I heard it's good for the skin. I would have preferred something more filling, but I decided to go with something that matched his health-conscious nature. But right when I raised my arm to point to the acai juice store, my stomach rumbled in the most remarkable way.
ジュースじゃ足りないんじゃない？そこのクレープにしたら？
Oh, you don't mind? I thought you might not like them because of all the cream.
いいよ、僕も食べたかったし。あんた、さっきお店の前通った時見てたでしょ。クレープ食べたかったんだよね。
Apparently he knows my unconscious signs that even I didn't know about. I nodded happily.
僕はこのシュガークレープってやつにしてみようかな。あんたは？
I was thinking about the strawberry crepe. Okay, let's go back up and do the crepes. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to I want a crepe. Oh, these crepes look so good. Do you want to try one? I knew how health-conscious Ryuki was, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. Most people would say how fatty and caloric crepes were. I braced myself, but Ryuki just smiled at me.
いいよ。僕も食べてみたいし。あんたはどれにする？
Ryuki appeared at the side and looked at the menu with great interest.
へえ、クレープって食べたことないけど、結構種類があるんだ。生クリームがないのもある。
Are you sure this is okay? If you don't want, you don't have to.
何？食べたいんじゃなかったの？
Well, I mean, I'd like to.
じゃあ僕も食べたい。あんたと美味しいって気持ちを共有したいから。
Oh, that's so adorable. He doesn't care about his image when it comes to her. He gets to experience it with her. Oh? I looked at him and he stared back in embarrassment.
あんたが好きなものは僕も好きになりたいって言ってるの。いいでしょ？たまにはこういうの食べても。
He turned away as if he was embarrassed and looked at the sign. There was a time where he wouldn't do anything that he didn't like. But now he cared about what I liked. I could feel a stinging sensation in my chest. Oh.
僕はこのシュガークレープってやつにしてみようかな。あんたは？
I was thinking about the strawberry crepe.
うん。じゃあ僕が持ってくから。あんたはあそこのベンチで待ってて。
Without giving me a chance to step in, Ryuki put the order and paid the bill. Maybe because of how his grandmother raised him, Ryuki was a surprising gentleman. Thank you. I felt my cheeks getting hot again. Feeling flustered, I sat down on a bench nearby. Huh? As Cupid, I knew all too well what my physical reaction meant, but for some reason I was trying to fight the feeling. Was it because I knew that I actually was still Cupid? Still, why did Ryuki seem more cool than usual? Was it the way he was dressed, or just how he was acting? Either way, he seemed way more mature than normal. He was like a model human, stood straight and tall. I couldn't help but admire him from a distance. While I sat there in a daze, Ryuki returned with 2 crepes.
はい、お待たせ。どうしたの？そんな顔して。
That's funny. Why do you look like that? Huh? Look like what?
かわいい顔かな。
What? That wasn't an answer at all, but he looked so happy that I couldn't say anything.
ほら、いちごクレープ。
Thanks. I took the crepe and took a bite without thinking. It was really fresh and my eyes lit up at how delicious it was. So good.
へえ、クレープってあったかい食べ物なんだ。なかなか美味しいね。
I looked over and saw Ryuki eating a crepe with great interest. I was glad to see he wasn't about to reject it. Really? That's awesome. My strawberry crepe is really good too. You want to try it? When I offered it to him, he pulled back for a second, but then he nodded and... You're gonna feed it to him. Smiling slightly, Ryuki took a bite of the crepe.
本当だ、美味しい。
That's too bad. I wanted to see the picture of her feeding it to you. What a nice smile. Actually, his smile was so dazzling it made me happy just to see it. Every time I saw his smile, it made my heart swell. I wonder why that was. I mean...
僕のも食べる？
You're Cupid, right? You should know what that means. You already said you know what this means. Absolutely. We sat next to each other and traded bites of our crepes. Instead of feeling embarrassed, I was filled with a calm, happy sensation. I wanted to see this happy face of his more and more, probably because he always seemed so angry up until now. Ryuki, a man who never opened up to anyone, I was so happy to spend time with him. You must tell him how you feel before the fiance kicks in. After we finished our crepes, we kept sitting next to each other on our benches. Little by little, the color of the sky kept on changing. Eventually, the sun set and night fell. It's so colorful. As the sky sparkled above me, I glanced over at Ryuki. I'd spent so much time with him and thought I knew everything about him, but suddenly I realized I didn't know anything. Hey Ryuki, what made you fall in love with me? I hadn't intended to ask that, but it was already out before I could cover my mouth. He clearly heard me, and after thinking for a few moments, he just smiled at me.
わかんないの？
No, I mean, I haven't done anything for you, so... He just sighed and stared at me as if he didn't know what to do with me.
あんたはアドバイザーなのに、恋には理屈がなきゃダメって思ってるわけ？
I know, right? Wow, he's the one telling you about what you should already know. That's really funny. Huh? No, that's not what I was about to tell him I hadn't done anything to make him fall in love with me, but he put his finger on my lips.
僕だってよく分かってないんだ。気がついたらあんたが好きになってて、あんた以外目に入らなくなった。
That's adorable.
でも恋ってそういうもんじゃないの？
I guess so, but...
それにさ、あんたにはいろいろしてもらってるよ。覚えてない？
I did. I didn't remember any of that, so I just shrugged and Ryuki replied with a wry smile.
まず、あんたは他の人と話すときと同じ調子で僕に話しかけてきた。
He said before that you don't run away from him, you don't criticize him, you let him just be him, which is what he really liked.
普通はもっと僕を敬遠する。でも、あんたは何も変わらなかったから。 僕がデザイナーでもケイサインの人間でもそうじゃなくてもどっちでもいいって顔してた。だから嬉しかったんだと思う。
He chuckled and continued.
僕のことを恐れずに素直な意見をいつもくれた。人の色が見えるって言った僕を不気味がることも否定もしなかった。それで僕にまたレディース服を作る楽しさを教えてくれた。誰かと食べるご飯の楽しさも。言語化するとこういうことなんだと思う。多分ね。もちろんそれだけじゃないと思うけどさ。
Ryuki stood up, took a step forward, then turned around and smiled at me.
今日もあんたは F4B3C2 から BCE228 のグラデーションに見える。
That gradient, it's really beautiful. Ryuki's eyes for color was clearly still alive and well. He still acted like a parasite sometimes, but he saw me as that beautiful color.
ほら、夜になったらメリーゴーランド乗りたいって昼間に言ってたでしょ。行こう。
Okay, why should look like that? He took my hand and I followed his lead. I was a little confused, but his back looked so big I didn't mind following him. Looks so big. I don't know what that has to do with following him. You should just give in. Accept it. Give in to your feelings. We walked around the amusement park until they closed, and then we had dinner and he walked me home. Eventually, we found ourselves walking toward my house. She doesn't want it to end. I know you don't. The date was over, but I didn't want to say goodbye just yet, so I stopped before we got to my front door. Thank you for today, Ryuki. Right. He looks awkward. He looked at me and his mouth opened and closed as if trying to say something. Parent wants to kiss you goodbye. That phrase he tried to say before, give me a chance, came back to me. I was sure he'd ask me again and again, but I didn't have an answer for him. I had fun today without a doubt, but was that love? I wasn't sure. Was I in love? Did I love him? That was a huge question. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't mind dating casually, but I couldn't do that to him. Because I knew that Ryuki was thinking about me seriously. As I stood there lost in my own thoughts, Ryuki smiled at me sadly.
実はさ、おばあ様からこの間連絡が来たんだ。
Are you going to tell her that? Your grandmother? You mean the one who taught you everything you know about design?
そう。それで僕の結婚相手にぴったりな人を見つけたから紹介するって言っていた。
Oh my goodness, what's she gonna say to that? The perfect wife. The word shocked me, but Ryuki just nodded at me.
おばあ様は乗り気で、その人と僕の結婚を進めたいって言うんだ。僕は CC を断りなく勝手に退会したし、このまま放っておいたらずっと独り身だろうって思ったんだろうね。でも僕はあんたが好きだから断ったんだ。好きな人がいるからその人とは会えないって。
I already told her no.
でもダメだった。一度会ってみなければわからないって言われた。完璧な顔面偏差値の女性だからデザイナーとして一度会うべきだって。きっと会えばその気になるからって。
Beauty grade. That concept is written directly into the 10 Keisaiin commandments.
でも今の僕にはあんたが一番可愛く見える。世界中の誰よりも。
Ryuki gently took my hand and looked me in the eye.
僕はあんた以外の人と結婚なんてしたくない。絶対にこの話も断る。だから。
Aw, he admitted that he would marry her. After a moment, Ryuki let his breath out all at once and set his face in determination.
だからあんたが 僕を選んでくれるなら、おばあ様に紹介させてもらいたいんだ。
Oh my goodness, if you'll have me, he just went from I love you to I want to marry you. Wow, that was fast. He loves me, he wants to date me, he wants to marry me. That's what he was saying. Somehow I felt like I was skipping a step, but I quickly dismissed the thought. I can't say this is a leap of faith because that's what Cupid is supposed to do. My Cupid's bow was meant to push people into love to become lifelong companions. Meanwhile, living as a human, I had decided that love and marriage were completely separate. I'd fallen in love and still thought it was too soon to get married. Even though I knew better as Cupid. Oh, okay. Okay, as Cupid, she thinks love and marriage go hand in hand, but now that she's lived as a human, she's thinking otherwise. I'd been living as a human so long I lost all of my godly perspective. Was it because I spent so much time around a regular human like Ryuki?
返事待ってる。今じゃなくてもいいから、僕をどう思っているか考えてほしいんだ。それでもし僕を好きになってくれたら、12月1日の12時に CC の前に来てほしいんだ。
At midnight, is that your deadline? In front of Cupid Corp?
うん。あそこはあんたと出会った場所だから。
His face was calm and relaxed. It was hard not to feel drawn in by that look. Ryuki. He'd given me until December 1st to figure out how I felt. But I had heard so many things at once, I had no idea how I really felt. I was surprised to hear Ryuki was thinking about getting married, and I'd lost so much of my intuition as a god. Okay, I'll think about everything till then. I wonder how long that is.
ありがとう。
I nodded awkwardly, then felt Ryuki's hand on my cheek.
ねえ、もう一度キスしていい？
That's so adorable. He's asking this time. What? I was hit with another question that I had no idea how to answer, and I went completely stiff. Well...
即答しないなら遠慮しないよ。
You're not going to hesitate? He pulled me close to put my lips on mine. It looks like you kind of accepted it that time. I kissed Ryuki for the second time. I was so overwhelmed I could feel the heat gathering in my face. It wasn't anything like the kiss we shared last time. This one was gentle and loving, but it also conveyed a certain sadness. When he pulled me in, it didn't hurt at all. I could get away anytime I wanted to, but I didn't want to. Instead, I reached for his shoulders and pulled myself in closer. Oh my goodness. She wants it. That should tell you how you feel. He put his hands around my waist and pulled me to him. There wasn't an inch of space between us. I could feel the beating of a heart, but whose heart was it, mine or Ryuki's? I found myself overflowing with joy as my eyes welled up with tears. Oh, why is she crying? Clarissa's voice rang through my head. Kissing makes me feel like things are getting serious. Doesn't that mean I wasn't sure if I was nervous because I really liked him or just because he was kissing me then and there. As Cupid, I couldn't believe I was so ignorant of all this. I felt like I'd been neglecting my duty. Then again, I guess I was on the outside looking in. I could see other people's love, but I didn't know anything about it myself. Eventually, Ryuki removed his lips from mine. It sounds like he really loves you. He feels passionate. You accepted his kiss by putting your hands on his shoulder, and she's accepted it. Pull her in closer. He looked me square in the eye, but I noticed a sense of regret. They were the eyes of someone in love. Why are they regret? It was obvious he must really be in love with me. Could I give him the same look? Looking at me, what did he see right now?
じゃあ待ってるから。
He let go of my hand and ran off into the darkness. Ryuki, the glamour parasite who can see the colors within people and things. In a daze, I watched him go. I'm home. When I got home, I found Claris drinking alone.
あ、おかえり。思ったより早かったわね。
Yeah, well.
てっきり泊まってくると思ったんだけどな。飲む？
Sure. As I sat down, Claris poured a glass of white wine for me.
ほら。
Thanks. I clinked Claris's glass and gave a small cheer. Then I took a sip and felt a little more calm. Claris gave me an annoying look but didn't say anything. We both continued to sip our drinks in silence. The night went on like that without a word between us. Oh, no prying. Back to work. As soon as I got home, I grabbed the first pin I could find. Designed a single outfit for one specific person. Pure white, a clean hemline. Is he designing your wedding dress? Yes. A wedding dress. Oh, he's really serious, man. He's like, if I'm gonna marry anyone, I'm gonna marry you. You know what? This calls for a wedding dress design.
あいつにはきっと可憐なシルエットが似合う。裾の形も均等に。
I couldn't explain why, but I felt like some invisible force was making me design a wedding dress for her. Just imagining her in it made my hand move faster and faster. I could feel the blood coursing through my body as the ideas kept flowing into me.
ここはこうしよう。それで袖にバラのレースをつけて。
I'm probably going to read the next one too because it's titled December 1st, and I need to know what she says.
ベールの裾にはオリジナルのケミカルレースがいい。それでウエストにはリボンをつけて。
Oh, okay. When I heard bow, I thought Cupid bow. I'm like, you're adding a bow, okay? I had no idea if she liked my design. More than that, I had no idea if she liked me. This was all I had to offer.
僕はデザイナーだから。
Of course she likes you. If she didn't, I don't think she would have, I don't think she would have accepted your kiss like that. If I'm going to propose to her, I need a dress made especially for her. Once the design is finalized, I can put the pattern together and sew it all together myself. Oh. I don't want anyone else's hands to touch it. From cutting the original fabric to adding the last stitch, I want to do it all. Oh, that's adorable. I was in such a hurry I couldn't have stopped my hands if I wanted to. I couldn't wait to get it all done. I was making a dress for the woman I loved. My heart was pounding in my ears. My entire body was burning up. I felt alive. I was truly, fully happy. Just like when I had first started designing clothes as a kid, I felt that vitality all throughout my body. He's so cute. I wonder how the president's route is going to compare to this route. December 1st. Let's go. A few days after the date with Ryuki. Oh, he only gave you a few days to decide, huh? I mean, if the fiance's coming in a week, yeah, he's like, you gotta make a decision before I see her. I hope Ryuki's doing okay. He was all I could think about. I hadn't seen him since that day, and in fact I hadn't even called him. I doubted I'd hear from him until that day, December 1st, but I couldn't stop myself from checking the phone. All I could think about was if he would reach out to me. Up until now, we'd been talking back and forth so often. This was the first time we'd gone so long without seeing each other in quite a while. As I walked home from work, he was all I could think about.
Chi?
Seeing me walk around in a daze, Chi tilted his head at me curiously. I spotted some face mist in a window display, and even that was enough to make my heart ache sweetly. It's the same face mist that Ryuki uses. Oh, well, if it's the exact same, then yeah. He sprayed me with it so many times, how could I forget? At first, I thought it was so annoying. I wonder when I stopped hating it. Why can't I stop thinking about him? Why am I so concerned? Ryuki, have you been eating properly? Seriously, I didn't understand why I was so worried about him. All these questions that she's asking herself is starting to get annoying. It's like, come on, you gotta know by now, right? Even as a Cupid, the goddess of love, you have to know at least a hint of what it means, right? But I couldn't stop thinking about how I didn't want to leave his side. I knew just how lonely he really was. He could only see others based on their colors, which isolated him from everyone around him. In the beginning, I probably just felt pity for him. At some point, that all changed. I recalled the feeling of that kiss and my heart started beating faster. That was the moment that I first started seeing him as a man. His strong hands, his kind eyes, I wanted to see him again so much. There could only be one reason why I worried about him so much, why I missed him. Because I was Cupid. My upbringing, my sense of purpose, that was the one thing holding me back. But when I got home, that last feeling of restraint disappeared. That's good. Be done with it.
あ、おかえり。ご飯作っといたよ。
Thanks. I tossed down my bag, washed my hands, and went to the dinner table. When I saw what was there, my entire body stiffened. There on the table was a spread of Japanese food.
知ってる？ジャパニーズフードって美容にいいんだって。今日近所のスーパーでセールやってたんだ。
Is that going to be your final clue? There's even natto. Natto. The moment I saw that, tears started welling up in my eyes.
なんで泣いてるの？
Oh, poor Clara. She did this so innocently, but it has such an effect on her. Because there's natto.
はあ？
This was more serious than I thought. I was crying because just seeing the natto made me think of Ryuki. At that moment, I knew I'd reach a point of no return. I wanted to see him. I hated the fact that I wasn't with him right at that moment. I didn't want him to even meet his fiancée. I want to be with him forever. Oh, yay. I already knew the answer. All I had to do was admit the truth to myself.
あらあら重症ね。ほら、ご飯が冷める前に食べましょ。
Okay. Clarice laid out everything on the table. Miso soup, natto, the rest of the food was the same as always. The natto almost seemed out of place compared to everything else. Let's eat. I took a bite of natto, but bread and natto didn't go together at all. Isn't that what he said in one of the chapters? I think he did. Or maybe he said miso soup and bread doesn't go good. December 1st. I thought it was already December 1st. I made up my mind and headed to the meeting spot to see Ryuki. He said at midnight. It's still daylight. I guess I got here a little early. I looked at my watch and saw that in fact I was a full hour early. I felt like Gil. I'm so nervous. I wondered how Ryuki would feel when he saw me here. Would he be happy? I waited there, stealing occasional glances at my watch when suddenly someone emerged from Cupid Corp and ran toward me. It was the photographer for the Parasite magazine spread.
ああ、よかった。言いましたか。今日休みだって聞いて、今家まで行こうと思ってたんです。
You don't need to be here. You're going to ruin it. Go away. Huh? As I turned my head, he gripped my arm tightly. Go away.
ちょっと来てください。今日しか式場のスケジュール空いてないのに、モデルが来ないんですよ。
Don't do it. Don't. He's going to get the wrong idea. Or maybe it'll work in his favor. I don't know. What? No, I'm...
あなたが本件の責任者でしょ。とにかくちょっとでいいから来てくださいよ。
Oh my goodness. Oh no, if she misses the... Oh... If she's late, he's gonna take that as a rejection. Don't do it. Please don't be late. December 1st, I was in a taxi alone with my giant case on my way to Cupid Corp. I was 10 minutes before the meeting. I stood in front of Cupid Corp, just my case in hand. She's not here yet. I wonder if she'll even come. Oh, please show up. My heart started to pound nervously. She wasn't coming. I'm going to cry just thinking of this. It's not her fault.
まだ待ち合わせの前なんだ。そんな早くに来るはずない。
10 minutes ticked by slowly, but eventually the time came. I looked at my watch, then up to the sky. It was 5 minutes past our meeting time. How many times has she told us that you should never be late to a meetup? And yet she wasn't here, which meant...
そっか。ダメだったのか。
Please come out of there. Just then, I heard the sound of some footsteps. Someone the color of C9171E stood in front of me. A deep red, like the very last moment of the setting sun, or blood.
あれ？もしかしてあの子の待ち合わせ相手ってあなただったの？
あんた、誰？
誰って。私あの時いたでしょうが。リネットがあんたたちパラサイト5の担当になった日に。
Lynette, just hearing her name nearly made me lose my cool.
あいつは、リネットは。
あの子なら今、ちょうどウェディングドレス着て式場にいるわよ。急遽撮影。
Uh-oh. Wedding hall. Dress. Why would she... No, it couldn't be. She's not getting married. Why would you think this?
あ、ちょっと待ちなさいよ。伝言が。
I could hear C9171E shouting at me, but I wasn't listening. I just let my feet carry me forward. She's getting married? No, she's not! Why would you think this? I hated the idea of her choosing anyone else but me. I had to hurry. Hurry. To where? Where are you going? Okay, good. He ran inside.
その結婚、待った！
Oh my goodness. Huh?
え？
え？
I can't believe he just ran in there. At least he wanted to stop it. I thought he was running away. I was like, please don't run away. I don't want to do this. Oh my goodness. I stormed into the room, and sure enough, there she was, in her wedding dress. But there wasn't a groom in sight. In his place was a photographer. Seeing the stunned looks on their faces, I realized I had completely misunderstood the situation. Seeing the stunned looks on their faces, I realized I had completely misunderstood the situation.
その結婚、待った！
Now let's do it from her perspective. Look at that outfit. That's the outfit he wore to one of the other weddings. Ryuki burst in and shouted at us, causing me to drop my ringing phone. The photographer's model had canceled, so he grabbed me and tossed me into this photo shoot. He shoved me into a wedding dress, slapped makeup on me, and started snapping away. He said it would take half an hour, but then refused to let me go when the time was up. I sent him an email, but he didn't reply, so I tried calling, but he never picked up. I even asked Clarice to help me out. Who's he?
何？その格好。
Ryuki, I'm so sorry. This model didn't show up, so I had to take her place. I've been trying to call you, and I asked Clarice to find you and tell you what was going on, but...
え？
Ryuki put the large case he was holding down on the ground and pulled out his phone.
本当だ。
Was your phone on silent? He looked at me, then back at his phone. His face slowly went from confused to annoyed.
荷物持ってたんだ。見られるわけないでしょ。
I'm really sorry, Ryuki.
いいよ。待ち合わせ場所にいたってことは、僕を選んでくれたってことでしょ。
Yes, you did. I did. Actually, I showed up an hour early, which is what got me into this mess in the first place.
1時間も前に。
After a moment of stunned silence, Ryuki burst out laughing. It felt like a flower in bloom.
ならいい。
You. Sorry, I'm recording with my kids home and I just started hearing them, so if you guys heard them in the background, I apologize. This is why I always record at night, so they don't yell and get picked up by the mic. I've never seen Ryuki so obviously happy. Seeing him like that made me happy too. But then his smile vanished and he looked me over with these cold, calculating eyes.
ところで、そのドレス何？
This dress doesn't suit you. This dress is hideous. Oh, it's one of our in-house dresses. The magazine wants to do a piece on Cupid Corp too, so they needed some photos.
はあ？全然似合ってない。デザインも最悪。こんなのマイナス10億点だよ。
Negative 100 million points.
でもこれ CC で一番人気って聞いたんですが。
This is funny.
はあ？これのどこが？これが人気なんてどいつも目が腐ってるんだね。こんな服着たあんたの写真が僕の作った服の隣に載るなんてありえない。
A photo of you will not run next to a shot of my clothes. I won't allow it. I don't know what that means, but Ryuki bent down to the case he put down earlier and opened it up.
あんたのために作ったドレスがある。これを着て。
This is... Inside the case was a pure white wedding dress. He even finished it? Dang. It sparkled in the light streaming in through the window. You made it yourself?
僕以外にいる？
I know, right?
つまりそれ龍騎のウェディングドレスってことですか？
Oh, at least he know who that is. The world's first, yep.
だからそうだってさっきから言って。
これで撮ろう。
Huh?
え？
ちょうどパラサイト5特集だし、龍騎がブライダルコレクションを始めるならそれも特報になる。
I know, right?
別に始めるわけじゃ。
He doesn't... I'm like, no, I just want one.
おいみんな、そろそろ撮り始めないと光源変わっちゃいますよ。
Oh, that's right. The editor wanted the photos to have a nice, bright daytime feel. The wedding, I'm sure that he told you to meet him at midnight, but maybe they mistyped that too. Maybe it was noon. Or not noon. Maybe it, I don't know. I don't know what midnight was supposed to be, but whatever. I'll have to look back at it when I edit this. The wedding hall was reserved for the rest of the month, so we had to finish shooting before the sun went down.
仕方ないな。おばあ様が来るのは夕方だし、まだ時間あるから付き合ってあげるよ。ほら、これに早く着替えるよ。
Okay. Well, we don't get to the super sweet exchange when she says that she accepts his feelings, but I guess this is a good second. That's how I went from a Cupid Corp wedding dress to Ryuki's very own personal creation. But then, I found myself being tended to by Ryuki himself. He tied the ribbon onto my back. Ryuki, I can get changed by myself, you know.
ウェディングドレスを一人で着られるわけないでしょ。それにこれは僕が作ったんだ。構造も複雑だし、僕にしか着付けらんないよ。
Just by looking at the mirror, it was clear that he wasn't wrong about that. I felt like the delicate lace would easily tear if somebody else tried messing with it. But I was still embarrassed showing him so much of my skin. I was wearing underwear, of course, but still. So, I thought he was just tying it after you put it on. He is... You're in your underwear, putting on the dress in front of him. Oh my goodness. Yeah, usually you don't get to that stage until after you get married, but whatever. Knowing how I felt about him, I couldn't help but feel awkward in this situation. You finally realize it. As I looked in the mirror, I locked eyes with the obviously blushing Ryuki.
恥ずかしがんないでよ。
Of course she does. This is what happens. Sorry. I moved my hands in front of me as he adjusted the position of my hips. Oh my goodness. As I felt his body against my back, I couldn't help but get embarrassed all over again. Yeah, I mean... I don't think I can do this. I wouldn't be able to do this if I was her. But despite my embarrassment, I was happy. It's so beautiful. Ryuki's dress was like something out of a dream. I felt like he was turning me into a real princess. The dress glittered in the light and made a soft shuffling sound with every movement. He adjusted my hair, then added the veil. He also added a lovely necklace. Finally, he slipped the gloves onto my hands. It was almost as if he was putting on the wedding ring.
綺麗だ。
He whispered into my ear as I looked up into the mirror. There I was, wearing his dress. I was wrapped in the gift he made for me, and my heart filled with joy. In that moment, his feelings came through more clearly than any words he could have spoken. The dress told me that he loved me. I placed a hand on my chest and turned around. Ryuki, thank you. We stared into each other's eyes. We both knew what was about to happen. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be interrupted. He moved towards me and closed my eyes, but then...
Mira-san! 着替え終わりましたか?
How dare you? Shh, quiet. The photographer called in from the outside of the room and I quickly took a step back from Ryuki. Ryuki just stared at the door, seemingly annoyed that his kiss had been interrupted. I know, right? Just yell at him.
ねえ、あれ無視してもう行こうよ。
He even sounds annoyed. That's adorable.
ワンショットいやツーショットで終わらせますからお願いしますって
I would have been like, no, you ruined my kiss. You're not getting any shots. He sounds desperate. What should we do? Ryuki laughed out loud.
いいよ。それぐらい待ってあげる。僕が作ったドレスをあんたが着てる姿、世間に見せびらかしてやりたいしね。
Show me off. As if to emphasize his possessiveness, he ran his fingertips across the ribbon on my back.
これはあんたのためだけに作ったドレスだよ。だからこの世でたった一つのウェディングドレスなんだ。
I love this route so much. It's going to be hard for Mr. Snail to compete with this dress.
世間に出てこのドレスがどこに行っても手に入らないって分かった時にあんた専用のだって判明するんだよ。
Ryuki laughed softly and pulled away from me.
じゃあ行こうか。
With his usual slightly condescending smile, Ryuki took my hand. With each step, I heard the dress rustle slightly. He started the shoot again, now with me in the dress Ryuki made especially for me. I'm having a hard time reading now. The rest of the shoot went off without a hitch.
いやーいい絵が撮れたよ急いで事務所に戻って色味調整してきます
ありがとうございました。あとはお任せください。
Okay, thanks for all your hard work today. The others gone, it was just me and Ryuki left in the wedding hall. The sun slowly continued to sink.
はあ、ようやく誰もいなくなった。
With a tired sigh, Ryuki took my hands. He stood in the front of the red-tinted hall.
なんだかバタバタしちゃったけどさ。本当はこのドレスを渡すときに言いたかったことがあったんだ。
Oh, what did you want to say? I waited nervously for him to continue. He smiled and touched my cheek.
好きだよ。
Oh, I thought he was going to propose. He whispered that, then stole a quick kiss. I remember what Claire had said, that kissing made her feel like she was on fire. It was our shortest kiss by far, but it flamed the fiery desire in my heart to be with him.
あんたが好きだ。僕の初恋で、多分最後の恋。あんた以上に好きになる人なんて今後いないと思う。
Ryuki. My first love and my last, I could tell that he really meant it. I felt it in his eyes and in the dress he made for me. I know those are really romantic words, isn't it?
リネット、僕と一緒に来てください。
I was talking really formally now too. Ryuki held out his hand, a hand that had created so many wonderful clothes, a hand that said I love you. I smiled and took his hand. With pleasure. Come with me. Are you gonna show her off in her wedding dress? Oh, we started running. Wow, that is a really pretty dress. I love the veil, the big flower veil. That's so adorable. He took off his coat so he could run. And we started running. They're just running down the street. Together, hands intertwined, me in my wedding dress.
大丈夫
Yeah. We ran as hard as we could, calling to each other. Everyone on the street stared at us.
見て見て、あのカップルかわいい。男の子の方一生懸命って感じ。でもなんでウェディングドレス？なんかの撮影かな。それか略奪愛だったりして。
I love the fair. They're all looking at us. Ryuki, maybe we should change our clothes.
悪いけどその時間はない。おばあ様は17時にロサンヨークホテルに着くって言ってたんだ。
Yes, he's going to introduce her to his grandmother in her wedding dress. 5 o'clock. I looked at my watch and saw that it was 10 minutes. We have to hurry. I knew just how strict Ryuki's grandmother was. Showing up late was absolutely out of the question. I pulled up my dress a bit and ran to keep up with Ryuki.
くそ、全然タクシーが来ないな。ごめん。僕があんたを抱きかかえられたらよかったんだけど。
I know you're a guy, but you're not a bodybuilder. That would probably be hard. No, I don't want to be a burden. I want to run with you. Don't worry about me.
そっか。じゃあ行くよ。
Okay. We squeezed our hands tightly and sprinted away. Everyone on the sidewalk stepped aside and watched us run. We were on our way to meet Ryuki's grandma at Lost York Hotel. What is all of this? Best of love match. I wonder if this is like leading towards the end or something. This is strange. It's my first time to see this, so I guess if you did everything correctly, this is what you get? I don't know. Do you love match test results? This was a thing that came up in the common route. You can view your results after you've done the first route in this game. There's still 2 more sections before you get to the best end, so I'm not actually sure what's happening. She's panting.
着いた。
He is too. In the elevator, I asked Ryuki to fix my hair. Eventually, we arrived at the meeting place.
おばあ様は。
はーい、リュウキー、こっちこっち。
That's not his grandmother, I'm sure. That sounds like Claris.
姉さん
Oh, okay.
なんでここに
It's not Claris. You're his sister?
はじめまして、リュウキの姉です。弟が心配で来ちゃった。
来ちゃったって。おばあ様は。
龍騎、30秒の遅刻よ。デザイナーたるもの、時間は大切にしなさい。
30 seconds late. Just then, a gray-haired woman appeared before us.
おばあ様。
It was Nori Keisaiin, master designer behind the Keisaiin brand, or label. The incredibly strict mentor who taught Ryuki everything he knew about design.
龍騎、そのお嬢さんはどなた？
She spoke quietly, but her gaze was surprisingly strong. Her eyes were like a loaded gun. Ryuki and I both made an effort to stand up tall and straight.
おばあ様。この人が僕が結婚したい人です。なので申し訳ございません。僕はおばあ様の選んだ人と結婚はできな。
あら、エロスじゃない。その格好素敵ね。
What?
エロース
Huh? That voice? No, it couldn't be. I turned to see who'd just spoken, and there she was. Mom? Please don't tell me that his grandmother wanted him to marry her mom. Look how old she is. My mom, the goddess of beauty, who had recently fled from Celestia, Venus stood before us.
ママ
Mama.
彼女のママって既婚者だったの？
You're married.
エロス元気だったかしら？
She's calling her by her god name. Mom, what are you doing here? I thought you ran away from home. Wait, does that mean that the woman Ryuki's grandmother wanted him to marry is?
私のことね。美の化身なんて呼ばれてつい来ちゃったわ。ところでこれ何の会なのかしら？
I'm sorry, I can't get over how ridiculous this is. She went along with it even though she's already married. I mean, the flower in her hair is the gradient that Ryuki saw Lynette as. It's the pink blue to the the light pink to the light blue. That's the exact gradient right there. Oh my goodness. Mom, you just followed along with no idea what was actually going on?
私は私の望む場所に現れるわ。
But still, look how... There's a huge age difference between them. Why would his grandmother do this? Mom struck her famous pose from the Botticelli's Birth of Venus and hit us with her graceful smile. So there was a thing called the Invincible Generation Gap, which this should have been the title of this one instead of December 1st. Oh my goodness.
それよりキャサリン・スペードさん、あなたは今婚活中だとお聞きしていたはずだけれど。
あらそうよ。娘の活躍を見るために CC に入って婚活を始めてみたのよ。
Wow. Doesn't even care about her husband. You joined Cupid Corp? You can't be serious.
この姿見覚えがないかしら？
Oh my goodness. I thought there was something strange about her. I thought she was a god, but I didn't think she was her mother. Mom snapped her fingers and her appearance changed in an instant. Of course I recognized the woman standing there. It was Catherine Spade, a Cupid Corp member I knew very well. What? Mom, you were Catherine this whole time?
娘の活躍を見るのは母の務めよね。
And her mom wanted someone specifically beefy. Just like her real husband. Oh my goodness. She snapped her fingers back and returned back to her original form. All three Keisaiin family members were taken aback by such a carefree attitude.
今のなんだ？手品なのか？
Yeah, is he gonna find out that these people are gods?
それより母ってどういうことよ？結婚してたの？
私確かにこの子の母役ではあるけれど籍は入れてないわ。だって神だもの。
She's just telling people she's a goddess.
神？ラウルと同類か？
Fanatic.
シングルマザーってこと？てかさっきから話し方ちょっと変だけどどこの国の人？
深海から来ましたわ。
Wow.
新海国、聞いたことない国ね。
Well, that's...
それより龍騎、きちんと説明してちょうだい。
Back to Ryuki's problem. The casual atmosphere suddenly tightened when his grandmother spoke.
まず聞きましょう。お前の目に彼女は偏差値いくつに見える？
She gestured towards my mom, pushing Ryuki to give his opinion of her. Ryuki looked at her, then sighed softly.
当然偏差値100です。
Wow, perfect score, huh? Well, she is the goddess of beauty, so it makes sense. 100?
あら、それって褒められてるのかしら？
That's about the biggest compliment you could ever get. She was Venus, the goddess of beauty, so of course she would get a perfect score. The source of all beauty, charm incarnate, no other god can surpass her.
それでも僕には彼女の方が世界で一番可愛く見えるんです。
Ryuki squeezed my hand and gave his grandmother a radiant look.
おばあ様、彼女を紹介させてください。彼女はリネット・ミラー、僕の CC でのアドバイザーでした。
Speaking formally again. As he said my name, I bowed lightly.
初めて出会ったのは CC で、最初は全然興味なかった。色も DA536E に見えてた。でも一緒にいるうちに目が離せなくなって、色もだんだん綺麗になっていって、恋をしたんだと気づきました。彼女は僕が世界で一番愛しいと思ってる人です。おばあ様、どうか彼女との結婚を認めてください。
Is this when she's going to finally approve of your design when she sees your wedding dress? Because that would be a very fitting end as far as him getting his approval. Ryuki. I never heard him sound so serious. She looked me over with a sharp, piercing gaze. No, not at me. She was looking at the dress.
そのウェディングドレス、龍騎が作ったものね。
はい、おばあ様。彼女のためだけに作ったウェディングドレスです。
彼女のためだけに。
The stern eyes filled with judgment, but then she smiled. Her entire face relaxed.
龍騎、ようやくデザイナーにとって何が大切か分かったよね。
The anticipation was getting to me.
え？
He stood there stunned. It was like he'd never seen her smile before.
とってもいい服ですよ、龍騎。褒めてあげましょう。
Oh, yay, he finally got his praise.
あ、おばあ様。でもこれは。
A dress, something made for a woman. That's what he was about to say, but before he could, she pulled something out of her bag.
龍騎のレディースライン見ましたよ。
それなんで？うちの店に勝負数しか置かなかったカタログなのに。
龍騎の店員を務める彼は私の古い知り合いの息子さんですからね。
What?
おばあ様の知り合い？そっか、それであの人だけは辞めなかったんだ。
The only one who never quit.
龍騎、これらの服からもそのドレスからもお前の思いがよく伝わってきました。思いの宿らないデザインはすぐに見抜けます。今までお前の作ってきた服からは思想も思いも何も伝わってこなかった。でもこの服には着る人を思いやる心が、いいものを作りたい優しさが伝わってきましたよ。いいデザインをするようになった。私から教えられることはもうない。お前はもう一人前ですよ、龍騎。
Aw, for Ryuki, that's the highest praise that he could get. You know, for such a strict grandmother, at least she knows when he deserves praise. Ryuki gasped with surprise. His worry that she didn't have anything to say about his work disappeared in an instant.
勇気の服を、僕の作った服を見せてもおばあ様は何も言わなかったんだ。おばあ様は厳しいけれど、良かった時は必ず褒めてくれる。だから何も言わないってことは、僕のデザインに足りないものがあるんだ、きっと。僕が 一人前。
龍騎、おばあちゃんずっとあんたのこと心配してたのよ。ケイサインの家にとらわれすぎだって。あなたはケイサインらしくしなきゃってずっと思ってたでしょ。
それは。
The Keisaiin name, the house he grew up in, and his strict grandmother. Whenever Ryuki talked about his own situation, he always seemed tight or in pain.
だって僕はケイサイン家の人間だ。ケイサインらしさを壊すわけには。
そこがダメだって言ってるの。ほんと龍騎ったら真面目なんだから。私のいい加減さと龍騎の真面目さが混ざったらちょうどよかったのかもしれないのにね。
Ryuki's sister chuckled a little and he sighed as he looked back at her.
姉さん、いい加減な自覚はあるんだ。
まあねだからあの窮屈で旧式なケイサイン家に嫌気がさして外に嫁いじゃったもの。悪いのはおばあちゃんじゃなくて頭の固いおじさんやおばさんたちだけど、あいつら口を開けば母さんの悪口ばっかじゃない。
まあそうだけどさ、ケイサインの家として大切なものがあるのは僕もわかるし。
本当にお前たちは真逆な子ね。確かに龍騎と足して2で割るとちょうど良さそうだこと。お前は真面目で一度言えば覚える子供だったのに、私は必要以上に厳しくしすぎたよね、龍騎。
The tone of the Keisaiin designer became the tone of a caring grandmother. She smiled softly.
ドレスを見て初めて知ったわ。龍騎、お前はレディースが好きだったのね。言ってくれたらよかったのに。
だって僕はケイサイン家の人間だから書いたらダメだって。
誰がそんなことを言ったの？
新年の集まりでみんなが。
Keisaiin exclusively makes clothes for men, and I'm a member of that family. I don't know why it's in pink. It should be in green, right? So of course I thought it was never an option, but grandmother just shook her head.
そう、そんなことを言う人がいたのね。困ったこと。
You should have told her.
でもケイサインでやってはいけないことなどありはしないのよ。大切なのはいいものかどうかという一点だけ。龍騎、お前が今まで描いてきた服はどれもケイサインの影響を受けていたわ。悪い意味でね。だから私はケイサインを立ち上げたデザイナーとして作る許可を出すことができなかった。でも色に対して絶対感覚を持つお前ならきっといつかいいものを描けると思っていた。それで厳しくしすぎたようだわ。
His grandma sighed, then looked at my dress and smiled.
私はね、龍騎、お前が本当に好きで描くものをずっと見たいと思っていたの。デザインは嘘をつけないものよ。無理に描いてもいいものは出てこない。今までの龍騎の服には苦しさがあった。けれどこのウェディングドレスからはお前の気持ちがよく伝わってくる。ずっと見ていたくなるぐらい素敵なドレスだわ。
おばあ様。
龍騎、これからは自由に生きなさい。好きに生きていいの。そのドレスみたいにね。
His grip on my hand tightened slightly, and his eyes began to fill with tears.
好きに。
Ryuki looked at me.
じゃあおばあ様、彼女との結婚を認めてくれるんですか？
認めるも何も私は制限しませんよ。
Oh, that's nice.
でも
龍騎はおばあちゃんがお母さんの結婚を反対してた話を気にしてるみたいよ。
結婚を反対？おや、誰がそんなことを言っていたの？
子供の頃大人たちがみんな言ってたから。
はあ、まったくあの子たちは子供の前で聞かせる話でもないでしょうに。
So did you say them or not?
確かに私はあの子をよく叱っていたわ。でも結婚を反対したわけじゃない。いつものことだったのよ。あの子が服を脱ぎ散らかしていた時も、学校でテストを全部放棄した時も、家中の障子を破いて遊んでいた時も叱ったわ。
障子を？
ええ、もちろんバイオリニストになると決めて勝手にデザイナー学校を辞めた時も叱ったわ。でもあの子は言うこと聞かない子だったから。
So that's why she says she yelled at my mother more than others, but apparently it didn't make a difference.
でもそれはケイサインだからじゃない。母親としてあの子の行く末を心配し叱っただけなの。どうせ勝手にするのも分かっていましたからね。
叱るのもまた母の愛よね。わかるわ。と言っても私はエロースを叱らなかったけれど、それはあの人の役目だったし。
The him in this case being my dad.
ああ、まず彼のたくましく情熱的な腕、私が気持ちを刻んだあの右目の傷、思い出したら会いたくなってきた。
Oh my goodness. Where she carved her feelings? She gave him that scar? Oh my goodness. That scar over his eye? Dad had always told me he got that scar in battle. He'd mentioned it every single time he told one of his war stories. He had a battle with her mom. I did always think it was strange that the name of the battle changed every time he told them. So it was mom who gave him that scar. They were quite a violent couple, apparently.
私を愛せるのは彼しかいないの。じゃあ私、深海に帰るわ。エロス、その子と幸せになるのよ。
Yes, please leave before you do something strange. He waved her hand, and just like that, my mom was gone. She used her divine power to return home without a second thought. She really was a free spirit.
嘘、消えた？あの顔面偏差値100の人、提示なしだったの？
Oh my goodness. Sure. Explaining everything would have taken too long, so I just went along with it.
なんだ、姉さんも母さんもあんたの母親もほんと自由なんだから。
Ryuki smiled and laughed gently.
周りの大人の言うことばかり真に受けて勝手におばあ様に叱られると思ってた。バカみたい。おばあ様は確かに厳しかったけれど無理強いはしなかった。僕の気持ちをいつも尊重してくれてたのに。
He spoke softly, almost to himself, then smiled again. He looked refreshed, as if all his old concerns had fallen away.
おばあ様、じゃあ僕の好きにします。彼女と結婚します。
You should probably ask her first too. Smiling wider than ever, Ryuki gripped my hand tight.
それで僕にどうかレディース服をケイサインで作らせてください。だって僕はおばあ様もお母様も好きで、僕はやっぱりケイサイン家の人間だから。それで一番に好きな服はやっぱりケイサインだったから、ここで服を作っていたい。それが僕の望む未来、僕が自由にやりたいことです。
Ryuki's grandma smiled at him, clearly overjoyed. She said she'd be thrilled if he started his own line under their label. Oh, yay. I was hoping this would end soon. It was starting to be really long-winded. Oh, it's the end of the entire thing. Okay, well that works out, I guess. Snowy Day Proposal. What?
Up
Did I
next
miss
is
one?
fashion news.
It said Snowy Day Proposal, but I think maybe I missed one. There's supposed to be another section called like candy melting, but maybe that was what that whole intersection was at the very beginning, where it said what Eros was and everything. I thought this was lasting pretty long, so I want to go ahead and continue because this is the last section before the endings, and it doesn't make sense to put this in its own episode, so it's going to be like 20 minutes. So I'm going to continue, and we're going to finish Ryuki's route, and then we can move on to his endings in the next episode.
Fashion brand Keisaiin has unveiled its new line. The brand name is Keisaiin Fin.
Finn, huh? Who's Finn?
This line, which has its brand based on the middle name of designer Mr. Ryuki F. Keisaiin, will develop women's wear. The main designer is Mr. Ryuki F. Keisaiin, who is the grandchild of Mrs. Norie Keisaiin. Mr. Ryuki, who leads the brand Ryuki out of Lausanne, York, plans to expand in the future under the official name Ryuki with new menswear. With Mr. Ryuki taking on ladies' wear with Keisaiin Fin and menswear with Ryuki, expectations for the next collection are growing. いやー、結構な話題になってるわね。どうよ、リュウキ。嬉しい？
As she watched the news on her phone, she looked at him and smiled. He just sipped on his coffee, showing no clear emotion.
別に世論なんて関係ないよ。僕は好きに服を作るだけだ。
彼女さん、今の聞いた？うちの親戚の陰口真に受けてた子が何言ってるんだか。
That's because you're his family. It was a few weeks after Ryuki had connected with his grandma. He'd called earlier and said they were near Cupid Corp, so I decided to meet with them after work. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. You've been so busy, I was really worried about you. His grandmother had helped him set up his new Keisaiin Fin label. But he's been so busy preparing everything for the unveiling, we haven't had any time to see each other since then.
ま、健康と美容には気をつけてるし、姉さんもおばあ様も手伝ってくれるから。
Right, his sister was helping launch the label as well, and the two of them have been traveling between Lost York and Japan.
リュウキ一人だとくだらないことで悩んでばっかりだからね。おばあちゃんも母さんもすごい心配してたんだから。でもあんた一人でロサンヨークに留学するって決めた時、おばあちゃんだけは反対しなかったのよ。
え、そうなの？
そうよ。心配性の父さんが一人じゃ危ないって散々反対してたのに、ある日突然何も言わなくなったでしょ。あれね、おばあちゃんが龍騎はしっかりしてるから大丈夫、応援しなさいって言ってくれたからなの。
なんでそれを僕が知らなくて姉さんが知ってるのさ。
あんたが毎日アトリエにこもってデザインばっかりしてたからよ。
His sister sighed and stared at him.
ほんと
頑固でクソ真面目で不器用な頭の固い弟よね。
な
せっかく色に対して天才的なセンスを持っているのにケイサインらしさにとらわれているし。
え
Genius when it comes to colors, Ryuki froze. His sister looked completely exasperated.
あんたね、普通は他人に色なんて見えないし些細な違いにも気づかないわよ。おばあちゃんたらいつも褒めてたわ。これとこれの色の違いに気づく子なのよって。私には違いなんて全然わからなかったけど、おばあちゃんにも同じ色彩感覚があるの。でも龍騎が生まれるまで一人も同じ目を持つ人がケイサイン家にはいなかった。だから後継ぎになんて思って厳しくしすぎちゃったんだって。つまり期待されてたのよ。
そうだったんだ。
だから厳しくしすぎたかもって悩んでもいたの。おばあちゃんもあんたとよく似て真面目だからね。だから私や母さんみたいにもっとわがままになってほしいって言ってたわ。それで世界を見て自由になってほしいって思ってたみたい。
Ryuki's sister smiled and looked at me.
そしたらこんな可愛いお嫁さんを捕まえてきちゃうんだもんね。龍騎ってば手が早いんだ。
With those hands, huh? All he did was make a dress. You're implying too much.
それは
I glanced at Ryuki and we both blushed in unison.
まだ結婚してない。
ウェディングドレスもあるのにいつするのよ。
姉さんに関係ないだろ。それより姉さん人と約束してるんじゃないの？さっさと言ったら。
そうそう、多分もうすぐ来ると思うんだけど。は
Her, huh?
ーい、待たせたかしら。
I don't recognize that name.
エマ、久しぶり。元気だった？
Whoa, it's Emma Winston, the Sillywood superstar. Of course it is. Emma was a talented actress who rose to fame with her role as a princess in Shannon Holiday.
今日はこれから彼女の現場でメイクする予定なの。でも弟に会うって言ったら見てみたいって言われてさ。
He's going to give her a color. Amazing, so Ryuki's older sister is Emma Winston's makeup artist. I recalled that Ryuki had mentioned at some point that his sister did the makeup for a number of Sillywood actors, but I had no idea that included someone as famous as Emma Winston. Everyone in the Keisaiin family is so amazing, his sister, his grandma, and of course him.
あなたがケイサイインフィンのデザイナー、龍騎ね。新作コレクションの写真も雑誌も見たわ。とっても素敵ね。
I'm just waiting for him to give her a number. A color, I mean. She pulled out a magazine. It was one with the Parasite 5 feature that just came out the other day. Apparently, since it was announced that Ryuki would start designing for Keisaiin, the magazine flew off the shelves. I didn't expect that even Sillywood actors would be reading it. That's amazing, Ryuki. Even famous celebrities were taking notice. Crazy. That was my impression anyway, but...
E9546B.
There it is. Okay, what color is this? I have to know. Okay, so here's the color that he describes her as, which I don't think is a bad color. Ryuki was just his normal self, not afraid of anything.
なんて言った？ああ、この子、人に色が見えるの。共感覚ってやつね。大丈夫。エマは素敵な色よ。
あんたにはそんな下品な赤の服は似合わないよ。もっと深い藍色を着た方がいい。アクセサリーもゴールドじゃなくてシルバーだ。
We just noticed that he has his spray bottle back.
わーお、噂は本物ね。実は私今日 わざと微妙な服着てきたのよ。あなたを試すためにね。
You've been tested.
ここで遠慮するようじゃダメだと思ってたけど、あなたは本当にノリエが認める目を持ってるのね。決めた。次のレッドカーペットのドレスはあなたにオーダーするわ。後でマネージャーに連絡させるから。
Huh? Red carpet, the dresses people wear to those events always mean something special. They're always covered in the media and admired by every other designer out there.
そのつもりで予定を空けといてちょうだい。さ、行くわよ。はいはーい。
He acts like he could care less. He doesn't even talk. Emma left along with Ryuki's sister. I watched them go, then turned to look at Ryuki. So your sister really does handle the makeup for Sillywood celebrities. I have to admit I'm kind of surprised. And now Emma Winston has asked you to design a dress for her next red carpet event. That's so amazing.
別に僕がすごいわけじゃない。おばあ様の作り上げたブランドがあったから成立した話だよ。
Yeah, but you have the female version of her brand.
龍騎ではこんな話もらうまであと10年はかかっただろうね。それだけのものをおばあ様は1代で築いたんだ。だからそれを無駄にしないようにやる。チャンスは必ずものにしてみせる。
Ryuki's smile had a touch of self-deprecation as he stood up.
すぐにデザインが描きたい。家に帰っていい？
Okay, I'm going to stay here a little longer and...
あんたにも見てもらいたい。それに渡したいものもあるから。
Oh, a little something. Stammering a little, Ryuki shot me an embarrassed glance. After a pause, he spoke again.
だからうち来てよ。
Well, this is called like snowy day proposal, so he's probably using that as an excuse to get you somewhere private. As soon as we got to his place, Ryuki went and got a sheet of paper. He grabbed a pen and started sketching. This was clearly his concept for the red carpet dress.
あのいい 9546B には多分背中が大きく開いたドレスがいいだろうね。本人の生意気な感じと相性がいい。でも首元はあえて清楚にした方がいいかもしれない。モチーフは蝶とさなぎで。
Ryuki looks like he's having fun. After all, he loved designing more than anything, especially women's clothes. He'd finally been honest with himself, and that was all he needed to earn his grandma's approval. And now that he came to be recognized by a world-famous celebrity... Just then my phone chimed to let me know I had a message. It's from his sister. There was no actual message, just a URL. Her messages are just like Ryuki, straight to the point. I remembered the time that Ryuki sent me a message that just had a link to some Face Mist website. I tapped open the link and saw that it was a news article about a violinist. Violinist? His mother?
ええ、もちろんバイオリニストになると決めて勝手にデザイナー学校を辞めた時も叱ったわ。でもあの子は言うこと聞かない子だったから。
Thanks for the reminder. we know. Hey Ryuki, is this? Ryuki stopped drawing and looked up at me. When he saw what was on my phone, he dropped his pen.
母さんだ。
So I was right, it's Ryuki's mom. Even though the picture was from fairly far away, I could definitely see the resemblance. As he stared at the phone, his breathing started to speed up.
これ僕が作ったレディース服着てる。なんで母さんが？
Why would she not? She's probably been keeping an eye on you from afar, don't you think? But no matter how far away she is, she was still looking after her family. Your family is really close in your own way.
全員住んでる国はバラバラなのにね。
I think I meant to say in their own way. The article mentioned that the concert was being held in Austria.
オーストリアか。ロサンヨークとはすごく離れてるのに。
Ryuki stood up, went outside to his garden, and looked up into the sky.
今頃、母さんのいるあたりは朝かな。
I followed him outside and sat down next to him. The two of us just sat side by side like this, staring up into the winter night sky. Last York winters weren't especially cold, but on that day the air seemed even more clear than normal. I see, so she's in a different time zone, right? I learned about the concept in college, but I never really understood it because I never had to think about it. But when Ryuki mentioned morning in Austria, I was reminded that the world didn't all have the same time of day. Even though we're all under the same sky, if we go far enough away, the color of the sky can change completely. Even when it's nighttime in Lost York, the sun is always shining in Celestia, but this world changes depending on where you are. Ryuki lives in Lost York. His sister and mom travel all over the world. His dad is from Lost York, but now lives in Japan, along with his grandma. They live in different places and lead different lives, but their family bond is still really strong. Ryuki got a text message of his own. He looked at it and smiled.
姉さんからのメールだ。見てよこれ。
He forwarded it to me, and this time the message was a bit longer. Hey, did you know your middle name was actually Mom's idea? Fin means white. She wanted you to follow your own path without dyeing yourself in someone else's color, so fight on. Follow my own path without dyeing myself in someone else's color.
まったく、勝手なことを言うよ。姉さんや母さんレベルで我が道を行けるわけないじゃないか。
Well, I for one love how freely you've been living your life. Ryuki's face suddenly turned red. Maybe it was the word love that did it.
僕も自由にしてるあんたが好きだけどね。あんたもそのままでいてよ。
Right, I'm sure that as long as I'm with you, I'll stay like this forever. Keisaiin Finn, a man who goes his own way, untainted by any other color. And me too. I vowed to go my own way too. I was suddenly reminded of something I learned the other day. Dad had come all the way back to the human realm to let me know that Mom had made it back to Celestia safe and sound. Then he told me that if I were to fall in love with a human as Cupid, I would become human. But I already knew my answer and there was no turning back. If you become human the instant you fall in love as Cupid, does that mean it's already too late? Or is it when you get married? Just like how Ryuki said I looked like a gradation of color light pink to light blue. My eyes could no longer see Ryuki just as any other human being, and once that happened, I could never go back to being a god. We looked at each other and gently entwined our hands. I wonder, do you think you and I will form such a wonderful bond as your family?
なれるよ。絶対。
He smiled with confidence and took a deep, quiet breath.
こういうのちゃんとしたいからさ。実は今日あんたに渡したいものがあって呼び出したんだ。
Yes, make it official. He pulled out a small box, and inside was a ring. This is...
婚約指輪。結婚するのは僕が20歳になってからの方がいろいろ都合いいけど、あんたを野放しにしときたくないから作ったんだ。
Leave me out in the cold. I think that means make her wait. Anyway. Wait, did you say you made it?
言った。僕がデザインして工房に依頼したんだ。あんたに似合う指輪はどこにも売ってなかったから。
I actually forgot that he made jewelry too. That's really cute. I know how busy you've been preparing your new label and you still found time to do this for me.
今朝できたんだ。ギリギリ間に合ってよかったよ。
In time?
今日クリスマスでしょ。
Aw, it's Christmas Eve. Ah, that's right. It was common for couples in Lost York to spend Christmas Eve together. And the other day, Ryuki did specifically ask what I was doing on the 24th. Cupid Corp is always super busy around Christmas. It's the time of year where we see the biggest growth in new members. Because of that, I'd been so busy that I completely forgot that I should be involved in the celebration myself. I'd gone to work extra early today so that I could leave early and see Ryuki. I'm so sorry, it completely slipped my mind. I didn't get you anything.
いいよ。これを渡すのが一番の目的だったし。それに、いいものは後でもらうから。
Huh? Good stuff. Husband and wife stuff.
なんでもないよ。ね。つけていい？
Yes. I gave him a small nod. He took my hand and slipped the ring onto my finger. You have to show us every CG, like the other Otome games. It fit perfectly. My heart was beating so fast. How did he figure out my ring size? Knowing him, he probably was able to figure it out just by looking. My heart was filled with joy, knowing how hard he must have been working toward this day without me knowing. It's gorgeous.
あんたにちゃんと言えてなかったからさ。今、改めてプロポーズさせて。
He looked at me with those calm eyes, then gently kissed the back of my hand.
あんたが好きだ。僕の初恋で、多分最後の恋。あんた以上に好きになる人なんて今後いないと思う。
You just reused the same line, but whatever.
リネット、僕と結婚してください。
Looking surprisingly nervous, Ryuki said those words and officially proposed to me. Mares, that was my plan even before we met up today. We told each other how we felt, and we told others about our intention to get married. But until he mentioned it, it hadn't occurred to me that he hadn't formally asked yet. And of course there was only one answer to give. Yes. He smiled. It was the biggest, happiest smile I'd ever seen from him. I'm gonna use the CG for my thumbnail. Just then he looked up into the sky again.
雪だ。
Oh wow, I guess it's a white Christmas. Snow was pretty rare in Lost York. The last time I seen even a single snowflake must have been 2 years ago.
雪ってあんたみたいだよね。
Huh?
うん、似てる。ふわふわしてて、放っておいたら溶けて消えちゃいそうで。
Fade away and melt. As he said that, he traced my new ring with his finger.
だから、もう離さない。
The ring that symbolized our promise shone gently in the shadow of the falling snow. I was overcome with feelings of warmth and happiness. I smiled and squeezed his hand in response. I guess if I just waited patiently, it would have gave me the full CG. Whatever. Happy ending.
special to me.
I like the NCG that they closed on. Yep, this is the happy ending. We're going to save that for the next episode because this one's already very long. It's in 3 separate videos because I accidentally hit stop halfway through and then my file got corrupted when my OBS crashed, so I had to desperately plead to my husband to get him to fix it. I was in tears thinking that I had lost an hour and a half of video recording and there was no way I was going to be, it was going to be a terrible video if I had to redo it because I was reacting to the surprise of the mom, the surprise of the wedding dress, the wedding, him running in and interfering in the wedding. Like, there was no way that that was going to sound authentic anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, my video is ruined. But thankfully, as all husbands should, he came to my rescue and was able to get me a copy of my video through some kind of, I don't know, strange video converter, but whatever, it worked. And I have a video now. So we're going to end the note here. This is a really nice route. It was a little bit slow going, but that's fine because it moved really quickly after that. We didn't spend too long with either of them trying to figure out if they should get together or not, or like avoiding each other, anything like that. All of the I call it traumatic stuff. I told my husband that this episode like traumatized me because of the fiance, and then her getting caught in a wedding dress, and then I don't know, there was something else too that I was just like, no, I forgot what it is, but anyway, all of the bad things that I thought were going to happen never did happen, which is surprisingly actually, because usually in something like this, if there's a fiance, it'll be there for just a little bit, it'll cause problems, and then they'll just move on. But we didn't even have to deal with it because he just flat out said, no, I'm rejecting it. And he didn't get the wrong idea about the wedding dress. Well, he did at first, but instead of running away like I thought he was, he ran in to interfere with the quote wedding and found out it wasn't actually a wedding. She was just doing a photo shoot. So all the things that I thought was going to go wrong never did go wrong. It just gave me a scare. So I was happy how it ended. But now we get to do his endings, which I don't know how long it's going to be, though, because there's like 4 or 5 save files. I don't know if there's a bad ending. I don't have my website pulled up because my computer completely closed. So, but yeah, we're almost done with a single route. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a long time. It feels like I started this route ages ago, probably because the common route was so long too. But it'll go faster now, and now we get to just go down each individual routes. Oh, there was something in the ending song that reminded me of a antagonist that was supposed to be in this game, probably not in this route. That rival marriage agency, they're always in shadows, saying they're going to take Cupid Corp down. They only appeared a little bit in like the common route, so I wonder what route they're going to show up in. They might show up in the President's, since he is directly involved with Cupid Corp, but we'll see. I can't wait to do the President's route, although I am very sad to be moving off of Ryuki. So I'm going to just enjoy his endings and probably put a new desktop background on my computer and then reluctantly move on to the next. So I enjoyed him a lot. Once he finally figured out his feelings, everything just fell into place for him. He almost like turned into a different person. I felt like I almost didn't recognize Ryuki anymore. He was always confident in what he said, which he's always been confident, but he was nice. I think that was the change. He was nice. And I'm like, what have you done with Ryuki? Anyway, this is already long enough, so I'm going to end the episode here. If you liked, drop a thumbs up down below and or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.